My name is Claudette Chenevert, known as the Stepmom Coach. Confidence plays an important part in feeling happy and successful in our lives, and this is especially true, I believe, when it comes to being in a step relationship. A lot of times I hear over and over people telling me or asking me, why do I feel like I'm not a part of this family? Why is it that it's like I'm feeling like an outsider looking inside this relationship? I know that my partner is a good parent. That's why I married him or her. But I don't agree with everything they're doing, and I'm not sure how to approach it. How should I do, or what should I say about this? Should I even say anything? So today I want to share with you the 7 habits to building your confidence in your step family, taking you from surviving to thriving, one step at a time. And what does that thriving mean, actually? We often hear that word, and we're often asked, what does it mean? What does it mean to be confident? How can I be more confident, and to look at that? So what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to go over what it means to be confident. I'm going to share 7 habits of what confident people look like, and we're going to do a little quiz in between all of this. So let's look at the word thrive to start with. First of all, thriving means to flourish, to succeed, to blossom as a person, and to be healthy and feel like you're alive. And it's very, very different from the word surviving, where you're living day to day and you're enduring what's happening to you. And I see this happening a lot with stepmoms, where they endure their lives rather than embracing it, often feeling as if they have no choice in what's going on within the family. So now let's take a look at what confidence means. What does it look like, and how can you gain confidence? Well, first of all, being confident means being self-assured, being certain, and having conviction, faith, and trust that you or someone else is doing the right thing, believing in your own abilities. And so you can see where thriving and confidence are closely related to one another. There's a lot of similarities or parallels with both of them. That when you feel confident about yourself, you're also thriving in your life, in your relationship. You don't simply survive. And there's more positive energy. You're in charge of what's going on rather than letting someone else or something else direct your life. There's a sense of empowerment when we talk about confidence and thriving. There's also a sense of feeling secure in who you are and what you're doing. And finally, it also means that you have a basic feeling of being okay, that you're good enough, that you deserve to be in this family and this relationship and in your life. So let's take a little quiz now. So if you have a piece of paper and a pen, I'd like you to write down whether it's true or false, these statements. And this is usually related into what your step parenting or in relationship to being in a step family. And so the first statement is, and answer this true or false, the first statement is, I can accept feedback from others, whether it's good or bad. The second statement is, I keep trying even after others have given up. The third statement is, I achieve goals I set for myself. The fourth statement is, I handle new situations with relative ease and comfort. Fifth statement is, I tend to do what I think is right rather than what is expected of me. And the final statement is, even if something looks hard, I will try anyways. So now you've answered true or false to these statements. And I would like for you to look at, if you have more true statements than false statements, then you're pretty confident. But if you have 2 or more false statements within this little quiz, then I really would like for you to listen up as to what I'm going to share with you. Having confidence makes our goal achievable, especially in our relationship. And you need to want to be happy and to be a part of this family in order to make it happen. No amount of venting or complaining will get you to where you hope to be. I mean, it feels good at the moment, but it's not going to actually move you into where you want to be in your stepfamily. So lack of confidence robs you of what you're going for, and you'll have all kinds of excuses that prevent you from succeeding, thus making your confidence going down even more. So being confident requires energy and time, but so does venting and complaining. And it takes just as much energy to do either one. The problem is you might as well put your energy where you'll get more positive results and more creative ways of creating your harmonious and your cohesive family, one that you're going to enjoy being a part of rather than just having to endure being in there. And remember, if you only have a fuzzy picture of what it looks like to have a confidence, then you won't be able to live a confident life. Okay, so let's move now into what are the 7 habits of a confident step-parent. And so again, here you might want to take some notes as you're listening, and I'm going to ask you to assess yourself with these 7 areas, meaning that use a rating scale of 1 to 5, 1 being this is definitely not a strong characteristic or a habit that I possess, and 5 being this is really who I am. I really am this kind of person and I have this habit and I'm comfortable with it. So have your pen and pencil and paper ready and let's go. All right. So habit number 1 is accepting personal responsibility. So let me repeat this in case you want to write it down. So habit number 1 is accepting personal responsibility. Now, confident step-parents accept responsibility for their own lives, their own decisions, and their own behavior. Now, this means that you understand when it's all said and done that you're responsible for the choices you've made in your life and that the life you've led. When you feel confident, you understand that you may not always have control over what happens in your life, but you do have control over how you do respond. You are taking responsibility for how you respond to life. So how about you? Do you make this a habit? Do you take personal responsibility for the way you respond and what's going on in your life? If so, right, give yourself a 5. And if you find yourself making excuses or blaming others, then give yourself a lower score. So we'll go to habit number 2, which is confident parents act in spite of their fears. Now, I know a lot of people are very fearful of being rejected by their stepkids, of not being good enough, but that takes courage. That's what courage is. We all have fears, fear of failure, fear of not measuring up, of appearing stupid, of not being lovable, of being rejected. But you know, it's part of being a human being. We all want to succeed. I know I do, and it's not always easy. And yet, if we let fear of failure or fear of being rejected interfere in our wanting to move forward, then that prevents us of creating the kind of relationship we want. So confident step-parents will keep that fear from overcoming their decisions. They will live their lives according to what they think. They're not going to let fear interrupt with that. So being a confident step-parent means you're willing to step out of your comfort zone and give the best shot for something new, in spite of your anxieties and your fear. Meaning that, you know, if it doesn't happen, you're going to try anyways. You're not going to let your fears drive you. That also means that If you want to go to a baseball game or that football game, knowing well that the ex-spouse is going to be there and that everybody's going to be uncomfortable, you're going to go anyways. You're going to go because you don't want to let fear prevent you from doing what you want to do. It means giving a hug to your stepchild and telling him or her that you love them, even if that love isn't going to be returned. So how do you rate yourself on moving forward in spite of fear? And how courageous are you in this area? So again, 1 to 5. So rate yourself on 1 to 5. 1 being that this isn't typically or this isn't a habit that I have, and 5 is a habit that I practice often and I have no problem with. So tolerance of others is the third habit of confident step-parents. And we all lose patience with friends and families and even strangers at one time or another. Again, that's part of being a human being. But the confident step-parent values the other parent's point of view, and instead of being put off by their errors, confident step-parents are willing to lend support and give constructive feedback, or sometimes just give that other parent a hand up. And this is one of probably the most difficult places a lot of people have to be in. They find it really difficult to give themselves or to be tolerant of the other parent, even though they don't agree with everything they're doing. And that might mean sometimes like going and picking up the kids when it's not your turn to pick up the kids, or driving that extra mile, or knowing that, you're going to do something and the kids are not going to appreciate it, even though you're doing it to make them happy. Maybe it's switching weekends with the other parent, knowing that it would be very helpful to the other parent if you did it. So ask yourself, how tolerant are you of the other step-parent? And are you willing to do what it takes to be a tolerant person? Now, the fourth habit of confident step-parents is that they're quick to give praise and recognition to others. And yes, that even means the other parent. And I know for some of you it's not easy to find anything positive to say about the ex or the other biological parent. But confident step-parents manage to find something positive. It doesn't matter what there has to be something positive. Every human being has something positive in them. Now, confident step-parents don't take all the credit. They're willing to share that credit, meaning that confident step-parents recognize that rarely does something positive happen based solely on one person's effort. It's a team effort. It may not be perfect, but it's still a team effort. And they appreciate those that are often behind the scenes. So meaning that, there's often things that are happening that we're not aware of. We don't always know what's actually being said or done at the other parent's home. And sometimes we speculate based on our emotions toward that particular person or how we're feeling at that time when we're having these thoughts. So do you share the credit as often as you should? Again, rate yourself on a level of 1 to 5 here. So habit number 5 may sound a little contradictory to what I just said about habit 4, but I think it's important that this habit gets its due attention. And confident step-parents are proud of a job well done and are accepting the recognition they receive. Now, that doesn't mean that confident step-parents are boastful. In fact, boasting is a sure sign of lack of confidence. So it's the reverse of being confident. If you're boasting for everything you're doing, it just shows you're not confident at all. But it doesn't mean that, what it means though is that confident step-parents are able to accept recognition and praise for a job well done, an effort well made, and a success well earned. And they do this with a heartfelt engaging thank you. Remember, can you remember the last time you had a praise that was given to you and you felt you deserved it and you accepted it and received it without saying, oh, no problem, it's nothing. That is something we often hear people say, oh, it's nothing. And I think when we do that to other people, what happens is you're telling them, whatever you're telling me isn't important, and I'm not accepting your compliment or your praise or your recognition. Therefore, it prevents people from actually wanting to give you more praise. They're holding back. They're saying, why should I bother? Every time I'm saying, you did a good job, you're just saying, it doesn't matter, or it's nothing, when in actual fact, it is something. So again, rate yourself on that habit. And be honest here. Really look at yourself and rate yourself. Is it something you're able to accept and be happy and be graceful about having someone give you recognition? Or do you tend to say, oh, it's nothing, don't worry about it? Now, the sixth habit of confident step-parents is that they have goals. And I've talked about this in previous shows about the importance of having goals. And I think we need to put this in this habit. Confident step-parents realize that life is a work in progress and that opportunities flourish for success and self-fulfillment. Again, confident step-parents are not afraid to set goals, to make plans, and then to step up to reach these goals. And they understand that there'll be challenges and setbacks and adjustments will be made. Think about athletes. Whenever I talk about goals, I often think about, Olympian athletes where they have this vision, they have this goal, and that's where they're going towards. They know what they want, they're going for it, they're confident. Those are great examples of confident people. So if you're looking for role models about confidence, those are great examples. And they're constantly reevaluating and adjusting to getting what they want. So it's not because they made one goal that they're not readjusting or giving a new direction. And the same thing when you're having a goal for your family, your relationship. Everybody changes. But if you don't have a really clear vision or goal of what you want in your family, it's going to be pretty hard to get there. And so, again, ask yourself, when was the last time that you set a goal for yourself, for your relationship with your partner and the family? And do you readjust and reevaluate your goal along the way? So rate yourself on your ability to set and reach your goals. Now, the last confidence habit I'll share with you today is this. Confident step-parents are not afraid to stand up for something, to stand up for what you believe in. And confident step-parents understand that values are tested at every turn of life, but confident step-parents place their beliefs above their needs to be liked by everyone. Meaning, we all want to be loved and liked by people, but just how important is it for you to be liked by everyone if your values and your beliefs are being stepped upon? And it's nice to be liked by everyone, but reality is if you don't stay true to what your values and your beliefs are, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be successful, or you're definitely not going to be confident. Trying to please everybody is not possible. You cannot please everybody. Now, confident step-parents are generally willing to compromise, but not on their values, and that's a difference. If you know what your values are, and I think that's important to sit down and decide, have a discussion about what your values are. You may think that you and your partner have the same values. You will be surprised at how different your values may be on certain things. If you don't have that conversation, there's no way you will know. And so, don't compromise on your values. Compromise on other areas and decide just how important they are. You need to be able to have some flexibility in this. And that's the one main reason that we respect people with confidence. We know that people who are confident, they will not compromise on their values and their belief. They will really stand up for what they believe in. So your final rating about value, so as you're rating your final confidence on values and beliefs, ask yourself how well you're committed to yours, and especially in face of others. Are you going to compromise your values because someone else is not respecting you, or will you stand up to what you believe in? And that can be a very difficult one too. So there you have it, the 7 habits of confident step-parents. And realize that this also goes for your partner. If your partner is not a step-parent, but he also is involved in this relationship, this is an important audio for them to listen to. Have them listen to the confidence and ask them if they are as confident as they think they are. Remember, as a family, you're a team. You and your partner are a team working together to create a family that will rise above the challenges that step families face. Now, look at your score. How well did you score? And you might want to review this as I go over the list one more time of what the 7 habits of step-parents are. So put a star around the area you scored the highest and circle 1 or 2 habits that you rated the lowest. So let me read the habits one more time. So habit number 1 is accept personal responsibility. Habit number 2 is be brave in spite of your fears. Habit number 3 is be tolerant of others. Habit number 4, be generous with praise. Habit number 5, accept praises and recognition. Habit number 6 is set goals. And finally, habit number 7 is stand for something. So here you have it, the 7 habits that can help you become a more confident step-parent. Going forward, make it a daily effort to become stronger in your bottom 2 habits that are not as strong or as high in your score as you'd like that. You'll be able to work on it, and you'll be glad you did. It'll make a very big difference in your life. Again, developing confidence is a process that takes perseverance, dedication, and unwavering determination. And it's no quick and easy magic pill to generate confidence and achieve success on your accomplishments. But it is achievable. Every day you're met with challenges in your step-family that requires you to call upon your confidence. And as soon as you begin improving your lower habits, the more you'll tap into your authentic personal power and live more confidently, sooner, and with more ease. Now, a situation that used to leave you feeling small and weakened will fill you with energy and excitement, and everyone around you will notice. Now, if you'd like to get more tips and strategies to help you embrace your step-family life, go to stepmomcoach.com. This is Claudette Chenevert, the Stepmom Coach, wishing you a great and wonderful week.